And we're back to learning to code. Let's go over the Amusement Park exercise. I've called it the 11th exercise as it's unlocked as the 11th one. It's about null and undefined. Read through it yourself if you're not familiar with it. I'm going to dive right in. At first we're going to create an object. So all we have to do is to return it. We need the curly brackets for it. And inside we've got the parameters, name, age and ticket for this function. Let me check if I've got typos. No, I don't. So it should be fine. So that was an easy one if you know what an object is. We've already done a previous exercise about it. So check that out if you're unfamiliar. My playlist is linked in the description below. Let's check the next one. It's revoke the ticket. So in the example we've got the visitor object with the ticket ID and we want to revoke that. So it should return only the name and the age, and the ticket ID should be changed to null. So we'll just use the object visitor. We access the ticket ID and we set it to null. Just like this. And afterwards we want to return it. So just return visitor. And that should be task 2. Let's go to the third task where we have to determine the ticket status. Let's check it. We've got 3 options here. And we need to check if one of them is true. So I'll just use a switch for that. You could do it with an if statement as well. And we need to check if inside of the tickets object the ticket ID has a certain value, and then we want to return one of these 3 options. So make this the condition and then define 3 cases, case 1, case 2 and the default case. I'll just give you the outline first. And now we'll check what we have to return then. First one is this, unknown ticket ID. And it's given right here. So if our ticket ID isn't found inside of the object, unknown ticket ID will be returned. So let us set that as our first case. We want to return it. Don't forget the quotation marks. Second one is not sold. We want to return that as the case 2. And the default case is sold to and then the name. And the way to write it is sold to. And then we can easily access the object to find the name. So let me just delete this one. And now I write plus the tickets, which is our object, and then ticket ID. So sold to and then plus our tickets object with the ticket ID, and then it finds the name which is attached to it. And it gives us that as return. Let's check the cases. So we know we want to return. The first one, we want to return it if we can't find the ticket ID at all, and that means it's undefined. The second case, not sold, it is defined, but it's actually null. So this is our second case. And if I haven't made any typos, we should be fine with our switch here. And we're good. Let's go to task 4 improve the ticket status response. So in the first task we had 3 options, and now we want to reduce that to 2 so that the employer isn't confused anymore. So we only want to have invalid ticket or the name that's attached to the ticket ID if it's still valid. How can we do that? Well, let's check this nullish coalescing, which explains it somewhat. So it says in the example that if it is null, we can set that with these 2 question marks to a certain value. But if it is not null, in the example the amount is 0, then what we add after these question marks will not be returned as the value. So we can write it like this. So the object's ticket ID is checked, and if it is null, we'll get the invalid ticket, and if there's a name, we just get the name. Let's go to the final task. We want to determine the version of terms and conditions. So you can see that here for the visitor new, we've got the GTC, it's signed, and a version of 2.1 is given. So this is what our function should return, but for the second one we don't have a GTC, so it should return undefined. The way to write it is we'll use return, visitor is our object, and then we want to check if a version is there, so dot version. But be careful, the version is inside of the GTC, inside of the object, so we'll have to add that as well. If we just run it like this, we are almost done, but there's still something missing. You can check the tests right here. So the first one is okay if there is a GTC present, but test 13 is not, because there is no GTC, so we need to add these question marks to check if the GTC, so the terms and conditions, is actually there. And now if we run it, we should pass all of the tests. And this is how you can solve this amusement park exercise in JavaScript. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.